Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report, and happy New Year's Eve. That's right, another year is in the books. I cannot believe that 2019 is finally over, and now we are looking forward to 2020 and all of what that may entail. And let me tell you, it's going to be an interesting year in gaming, in politics, in society, in the world. Oh boy, I just can't wait. But before we dive into 2020 and, of course, the final news of 2019, I did want to say thank you so much for making 2019 such an incredible year for the podcast and for the YouTube channel overall. The amount of growth that the channel has seen over the course of just one single year has been mind-boggling. Just to see how far we've come in the course of 12 months, it really is something to behold, and that wouldn't be possible without you. It sounds like PBS, like without viewers like you. Anyways, seriously, thank you so much for making 2019 the best year for the channel and for my content overall, because it really has been fun to see things grow, and it's been awesome to reach a brand new group of people. But all of that gooey, ushy-mushy stuff to the side, we have some news to dive into today, because PlayStation 5... That's right, the specs have leaked, and it looks like it could be less powerful than the Xbox Series X. Now, this is all just rumored as of right now. This has not been confirmed, but it has been shared by Digital Foundry, which is pretty much the industry's benchmark for benchmarks. It is what people look to whenever they say, hey, how powerful is this new PC peripheral? How powerful is this console versus the next console? They're pretty much the guys you go to, so if they're sharing it, they've got some pretty good insider information. Then the Uncharted Movie has hit yet another setback, losing another director. The Nintendo Switch has been named the most fragile project of 2019. And product of 2019, I should say. Nintendo's new Tokyo store is so popular it has hours-long wait times. And finally, the final UK charts of the year reflect on just how big Modern Warfare has become. And that is our lineup for today's show. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. PlayStation 5 specs leak sends the web into a frenzy. There has been an explosion on enthusiast forums over the festive period as potential PlayStation 5 specifications have leaked. The source claims to stem from GitHub, where an AMD employee stored internal testing data from a variety of in-progress projects. These have since been confirmed as accurate by Digital Foundry, though they could be outdated. So what do they reveal? Well, allegedly the next-gen device will sport a CPU featuring 8 Zen 2 cores and a GPU boasting 36 custom Navi compute units at 2000 MHz. It'll also feature GDDR6 memory clocked at double the speed of the PS4 Pro. According to calculations, this pits the machine at 9.2 teraflops. The interesting thing about this leak, assuming it's still accurate, is that it sounds like the Xbox Series X will turn in even more impressive specs, a reported 12.2 teraflops. This is contrary to rumors we have heard in the past, where speculation has suggested that both boxes are identical, with some insiders even giving the PlayStation 5 the edge. One theory being posited is that Microsoft's next console is targeting seriously hardcore gamers and will have a premium price point attached. Sony's system, on the other hand, sounds a bit more grounded and is much more likely to hit that all-important $399 price point. There is also speculation that there will be a cheaper, less powerful Xbox Series X alternative for the more cost-conscious consumers. Ultimately, we are going to have to wait and see until all of the official details are out in the open. There is much more analysis and speculation from Digital Foundry through the link, but the site ultimately concludes that we'll need to hold on for more official info as well. The good news is that we shouldn't have to wait too long, as the PS5 will be on store shelves this time next year. That's right, you'll be playing it by the time December 31st, 2020 rolls around, which is something that is very exciting to consider. But let's talk about this. 9.2 teraflops is what the reported PlayStation 5 is supposedly going to be boasting. Again, you have 8 Zen 2 cores with the CPU and 36 custom Navi compute units at 2000 MHz. For those that don't know, it's still a powerful console, but in comparison to the Series X, it just simply is not going to be there if these specs are to be believed. And so, is this something that is going to be crippling for the PlayStation 5? Is this something that is going to be generation breaking for PlayStation? Are they going to lose their grip? Not necessarily. I do believe that Push Square and the guys at Digital Foundry and everybody speculating online, they probably have a pretty good handle on how this entire thing is going to go down. Because we have a similar kind of situation in the current generation of consoles if you really sit down to think about it. The Xbox One X, the most powerful console on the market right now, is still miles behind the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro in terms of adoption rate. More people have PlayStations than they have Xboxes. Now, there was a a huge advantage going into the beginning of this generation because the Xbox One fell behind so quickly. So the PlayStation 4 was pretty much always guaranteed to be the #1 console seller for this entire gen. But at the same time, the Xbox One X has been on store shelves for quite some time. You would think that it would be catching up in some kind of way, shape, or form, and to some degree it is, but not everybody needs the most powerful console. A lot of people are fine with having the good games, and that's what the next generation is going to come down to. Ultimately, the hardware is going to play a factor in just how successful a console is, but at the same time, it is also worth considering what games are able to be played on this hardware. What experiences can you have? And so PlayStation has traditionally been the go-to place for the biggest and best stories. God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, Killzone, going way back, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, stuff like that. The age-old franchises that people think of when they think about gaming. That is what PlayStation owns. That is how they dominate year after year. Now with Xbox and all of their new studios, there could very well be some system sellers within those catalogs or within that catalog of games from the Xbox Game Studios. But right now, I think Xbox has to overcome this kind of sense of being the one that is behind, the sense of being those that do need to catch up, and the sense of being those that are lacking in the story-based games or the big giant exclusives, and they really have to prove to the consumers that it's worth buying an Xbox Series X or an Xbox Series S if that rumor is to be believed, the less powerful Xbox. They have to prove those are worth buying. Right now with the PlayStation 5, people look at their PlayStation 4 and say, hey, that thing's treated me well. I'll go ahead and get the next one of those. But still very concerning. I wouldn't say concerning, very interesting to see that the newest leaks say 9.2 teraflops as compared to the Xbox Series X's 12.2 teraflops. Now again, these could be old numbers, these could be early builds, but that's what we've got right now, and it certainly is interesting, especially considering yesterday's report that we could be seeing a big PlayStation reveal at the Consumer Electronics Show next week. But you know what you won't be seeing anytime soon? The Uncharted movie, because it has hit yet another setback, losing another director. And this is all coming to us unconfirmed, but all but confirmed in a report. Sony's Uncharted film adaptation has incurred an unexpected setback. Travis Knight, who signed on to helm the project in September 2019, will no longer direct Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, according to a new report. Deadline states that Holland's work with the next Spider-Man installment has caused scheduling conflicts with Knight. As a result, Knight has been pushed out of the director role, and the new film will receive a brand new release date. Uncharted was scheduled to hit theaters on December the 18th of 2020, and Sony still plans to move the film forward with a new director, but an announcement on who will lead the project has not been made. Knight, an animator at stop-motion studio Leica, made his live-action directorial debut with 2018's Bumblebee. Knight has also worked on 2009's Coraline, 2012's Paranorman? Oh, I remember that one. 2014's The Box Trolls, 2016's Kubo and the Two Strings, and more. Uncharted would have served as Knight's 5th directorial project. 2019 marked a year of consistent changes for Sony's Uncharted film adaptation, a project that has been in the works since 2008. It was reported over the summer that the film has been rewritten, with Joe Carnahan penning the first draft. The current script was written by Art Markham, Matt Holloway, and Rafe Judkins. In addition to several script changes, Uncharted has seen a number of directors sit in the chair, from Sean Levy to Dan Trachtenberg to Seth Gordon. Knight is the latest director to walk away from the film. Not a good look for the Uncharted movie. Now, I think we all pretty much saw this one coming because of just how much turmoil there has been surrounding this specific film. And it's very unfortunate because I do believe Uncharted would make a good movie, but ultimately we have the games, and I think that what they're trying to do is allow the Uncharted franchise to tap into a new audience, to reach out to new people that might not necessarily want to play games, because at its core, much like Tomb Raider, it is just this giant action romp. That's what it's meant to be, and that's what it's always done very well. Uncharted is a phenomenal franchise. But to get this movie off the ground is pretty much going to take a miracle at this point. Again, in development, in progress since 2008. Let's all take a moment to remember the original Uncharted game. Drake's Fortune came out in 2007. That's how long it's been. But I digress. Hopefully this will eventually see the light of day, but I don't believe that it's going to have too good of a fate, especially if you look at stuff like Tomb Raider that came out just a couple of years back, Assassin's Creed that came out with Michael Fassbender a few years ago. There is no hope for video game movies in today's day and age, but who knows, we could see a resurgence, we could see something that comes out of the woodwork and say, hey, boom, shakalaka, there it is. But as for right now, I don't believe we're going to be getting any kind of Uncharted movie anytime soon, certainly not towards the end of 2020 by any stretch of the imagination. Moving on, the Nintendo Switch has been named the most fragile product of 2019 in a French consumer magazine. Nintendo has joined a dubious end-of-year honors list in French consumer publication 60 Millions de Consommateurs. That's 60 million consumers. Yeah, I had some college, the author says, where the publisher was named one of the worst companies in 2019 due to the fragility of the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con. An ongoing issue with the console since launch has been the infamous Joy-Con drift, a fault which causes the Switch to register movement on the thumbsticks when there is none. In America, drifting Joy-Con can be sent away for free repair, but this scheme has unfortunately not been afforded to all territories. Given that a replacement Joy-Con is not cheap, the problem has caused much chagrin among Switch users, even leading to the extremities of a class action lawsuit. Nintendo itself has been relatively quiet about the matter, generally just reiterating the company line on quality products. But hopefully, as the production of Switch units continues into the new year, drift and other Joy-Con problems can all but be eradicated from future models. 2019 has been a very good year for the dev and publisher, but the cactus of the too fragile product is probably one end-of-year award that won't be sitting on the mantelpiece. That's right, the cactus of the too fragile product. But this is something that I think Nintendo wholly deserves. I know that I also read reports that the Joy-Con that was built into the Nintendo Switch Lite units has also been malfunctioning, which is another issue in and of itself. Now, for those that have never sent anything into Nintendo for repair, it's a bit of a process. I mean, if you have to send in a piece of hardware, you probably won't see that thing for at least a couple of weeks, if not a month or more. And so if you have a Nintendo Switch Lite, that's a huge problem in and of itself because you can't even go out and buy replacement Joy-Con in the meantime. You just have to not have anything. I guess you watch paint dry on the wall. Maybe you watch something on Netflix, like The Witcher. Hashtag ad. No, just kidding. But I do believe that it should be pointed out that the Nintendo Switch is a bit of a fragile product when it comes to its Joy-Con because it can break so easily. Even in my own life, I've known people that have had issues with their Joy-Cons, and that's a very small group of people that I know that I talk to. I don't talk about Nintendo Switch issues to everybody. So if I talk about them, you know, it's a pretty widespread issue worldwide. Now, with that being said, hopefully 2020 has some new luck in store for Nintendo and for Nintendo consumers because it would be nice to, fix that. I would assume that they're probably on the case right now, but I suppose we will have to wait and see. Hopefully they'll make some kind of official announcement when new pieces, new products, whatever you want to call them, have fully rolled out. But Nintendo's new Tokyo store is so popular, it has hours-long wait times if you did want to go out and buy a Nintendo Switch. Nintendo opened their flagship Tokyo store just recently in November, and they're still having a massive overpopulation problem even after the Christmas season. Clocking in at 300 square meters, the space just isn't enough to fit everyone, and Nintendo has been forced to implement hours-long wait times beyond its gates. According to Bloomberg, the store is very popular both in terms of local fans and foreign visitors, and has gotten to the point where tickets are now distributed outdoors for entry before the 10 a.m. opening time. The outlet reports that roughly 500 individual items of 1,000 are exclusive to the store, making it a choice location for Nintendo fanatics. The lead up to big-time Nintendo store in Tokyo has also been a long time coming. The info is backed up by the official Twitter account, which has been refreshingly transparent. Just this week, the store is providing wait times for entry, which as of today, December the 30th, was upwards of 150 minutes. So if you were out there trying to get in, good luck. In the age of ubiquitous online shopping, I haven't waited in line for anything for years. Rip Amiibo Wave 4, but naturally, Nintendo creates this type of urgency. And so we have a store that is so popular, you'll wait over 2 hours to get into it, apparently, in Tokyo, which is pretty huge, to say the least. But I do believe that there's something to be said here for the brick and mortar store. Of course, the author, Chris Carter over there at Destructoid, does point out that I haven't been in a line in years, and I feel the exact same way. I mean, anytime that I need anything, even groceries at this point, I just go on Amazon. I would much rather pay a bit of a premium on Amazon than have to walk into a Walmart. But with that being taken into account, I also do believe that if you do a brick and mortar store right, if you make it an experience, if you have in-store exclusives, then you can make it a very special adventure. You can make it something that people want to do. You can make it an activity rather than a chore. For instance, if you are looking to pick up a new game, going to GameStop might be somewhat of a chore, but if they make it into an experience, then hey, GameStop could make a comeback, and boom, there you are, hanging out in the GameStop. Play and Trade was another franchise in the Southeast that did that exact same kind of thing that was very, very consumer friendly. It allowed you to hang out, play games, that kind of thing. It really did become somewhat of a cultural center point for the gaming population, and Nintendo is doing that exact same thing with their store in Nintendo. But I mean, hey, who doesn't like going to a Nintendo store? I mean, look, you've got t-shirts, you've got this Splatoon chick, you've got Mario, Zelda, I don't know what that one is, but it's back there in the back. Plenty to do in that little piece of land. But the UK charts are finally rounding out 2019, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare is the final #1 of the year. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is #1 for a third consecutive week and is the final #1 of 2019. It holds off FIFA 20, which remains at #2, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which retains third position. In fact, the entire top 5 is unchanged, with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still at #4 and Luigi's Mansion 3 at #5. As the final chart of the year, we can now see that physical game sales for 2019 are down almost 20% as compared to 2018. We'll come back to that more in just a moment. This week's top 40 marks an end of an era for the official UK charts, as a new chart supplier will be used in 2020. GFK, under various names, has been providing for the UK charts for more than 2 decades, but the charts have faced criticism in recent years as they only track physical sales. This is because boxed game sellers like Amazon, Game, and Argos share their software sales with GFK, but digital game sellers like Xbox Live, Steam, and PSN do not. This has given rise to a new charts project launched by European trade body ISFE called GSD. GSD tracks physical sales and digital sales, although in different ways. Physical sales come directly from the retailers and encompass all games released in a box. Digital sales come directly from the publishers, but not all publishers are taking part, including Bethesda and Nintendo, and therefore not all digital games are counted. Additionally, the complexity of compiling the GSD chart means that the data takes longer to collate. This is the same project that provides the EMEAA charts for games industry.biz that has been printed since last year. Despite the drawbacks, the availability of digital data has seen a significant step up, and UK trade body UKIE will be using the GSD chart as the official UK charts from next week on. UKIE will be releasing separate physical and digital charts as opposed to one combined chart due to the difference in available data. GFK still offers physical charts data to subscribers, and of course the final top 10 includes just what you would expect. Again, the top 5 are unchanged, with Modern Warfare, FIFA 20, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Luigi's Mansion 3. But here we are, December of 2019, GTA 5 still hanging in there at #6. Then you had Borderlands 3, Just Dance 2020, Pokemon Sword, and Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. All things considered, very good titles to say the least. But ultimately, I think the big story here, #1, is of course the new way that UK numbers are coming in with the GSD instead of the GFK, which means that, hey, you're going to be getting more accurate numbers, you're going to be getting bigger numbers, and overall, I think it's a good step forward, because as the industry evolves, so do those reporting on it. But additionally, I think that the other big story here is that we can now see that physical game sales are down 20% in 2019 as compared to 2018, and I would expect that trend to continue, especially as we inch closer and closer to the next generation. And I see myself doing the exact same thing. Do I still purchase and do I still receive physical games? Yes, but digital is becoming a bigger and bigger part of how I play games. Much like Amazon grocery shopping, it's just because of the ease. I would much rather pay for something on my PlayStation or my Xbox that I'm going to be able to keep forever if I know that I'm going to be playing that game forever, instead of going and driving to a GameStop or a Walmart or a Target or a Best Buy, whatever it might be. And so Modern Warfare still retains its position as #1, and I would say this one's going to be at #1 for a while, at least until the middle of January, because there simply isn't much else coming out until then. And so, of course, Modern Warfare continues to roll out new maps, new content updates. It's a very consumer-friendly entry to the Call of Duty franchise, which is not shocking to say the least. Glad to see it happening. But that rounds out the final episode of the Jampack Report for 2019. Again, thank you guys so much for an incredible year, and I cannot wait to keep you guys informed and up to date in 2020 and beyond. But until next year, I hope you guys have a fantastic night, be safe, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.